21st. I'll be flying from Austin, Texas, my home, to Aspen, Colorado. I stay overnight in Aspen, Colorado, and then hike the Maroon Bells, the 4-pass loop. Four-pass loop is about 28 miles round trip. You start near Aspen, work your way up around, have about 3 good nights of backcountry camping, 4 days of solid hiking, and then back in the comforts of civilization. Today, I'm out on my first official gear test and hike. Through the hills of my neighborhood. It's really nice hiking and biking trails here. Very strenuous, but of course, low altitude compared to Colorado. The highest peaks that I'll be crossing in the 4-pass loop is about 12,500 feet. So this is nothing in comparison, but I'm testing out my backpack, my boots, my sticks, and this cell phone / selfie stick. Hopefully it provides a good video of the trip. That's my intent. I've been hiking for a few weeks now with weight, using a different backpack, one made by Triple Aught Design. They loaded that pack with 50 pounds, including water. And this pack right here is close to that, about 50 pounds. I figure 50 pounds is about what I'm going to need on the trip. But I'm going to try to reduce what I can between now and the time that I set off. So I'm going to continue my hike and trying to get in about 9 miles today. To give it a good test on everything that I've gotten. So we'll see how it goes. I'm about a little over 3 miles in at this point, averaging about 23 minutes per mile. Not a great pace, but I've also stopped a couple times to make some adjustments to my pack. But so far so good. Definitely a wear on my shoulder. Definitely a wear on my hip. And it's humid as hell today. A lot of clouds overhead. And hot. This is a nice pack. I've had it for a few years. It's made by Gregory. It's the Baltoro 75. It carries a lot of weight and it has a lot of room. And I just have done 2 hikes with it up into the mountains at this point. I did one to Pike's Peak, I think in 2015, which is 5 years ago. And that went really well. Had some abrasion on my hip bone, wearing on my hip for 3 days or so. And then I went to Zion in 2016. That was a good trip too. Used the same pack. It did well. This year, I'm gonna try a elastic waistband, kind of like a lumbar support band. Put that around my hip bone and see if it keeps the abrasion down. I don't have that on today. I'm waiting for it to be delivered by mail. And you probably can see it back here, but I've got this gigantic solar panel. Hopefully you saw that. Anyway, planning to have my iPhone as the only electronic source that I have on the trip. No digital camera. Just gonna try to do all my video on the iPhone, take photos, and hopefully get enough solar power during the day hikes to charge my phone at night. We'll see how that goes. But like I said, this hike today's goal is 9 miles. We'll see how I feel at 9 miles, and then head back to the house, hopefully by lunchtime. The only other equipment I have right now that I might describe as these are Leki, L-E-K-I brand trek poles. They are foldable, telescoping and foldable, and they're excellent. Expensive but excellent. You can stash them when you want to and don't have to carry long poles everywhere. Especially good for travel. So I'm making my way down this power line easement. You can see there, headed down into another ravine. Lots of ups and downs here. The boots I have on today are, you're not going to be able to see them too well with this selfie stick. I'll show them later. They are OBOZ brand. I'll assume that is pronounced oboes. And this is the first time I've had them out on the trails. I took them for a short walk last night on the street. They seem to do fine. They are advertised as waterproof, I guess, as long as you don't get too deep. Leather exterior. You can tighten them up pretty good. They seem to be working fine today. I'm in the final mile stretch, mile 8 now. Hopefully it'll be done somewhere around 9 miles back at home. It's a lot of pain so far. Feet hurt. My back hurts, obviously. My hips hurt. Soaked in sweat. Still have water, haven't run out of water. But 8 to 9 miles that's just in these hills around my neighborhood. So we'll see how it goes. If I was really serious, I would be back doing this again tomorrow and the next day. Try to get around 28 miles total. But we'll see how tomorrow goes. I don't know if I'm up for that yet. Try to work my way up, perhaps. See what other adjustments I can make. We started off with some blisters from a few days back. I was using some tennis shoes and hiking with the heavy weight, and I think started off with a few blisters, and I can start to feel those now. I don't think the boots are causing any more, but just a tiny amount of slippage on my boots, and those blisters are telling me they're there. Otherwise, feeling good. Otherwise, still optimistic, but definitely tired. Didn't take a whole lot of breaks. I think I still average about 23 minutes at this point. Basically just stopped to adjust something and then get back on the walking. As you can hear, I'm not on the trails anymore. I'm basically on the main thoroughfare around my neighborhood. Just tried to cut off some trails short to make it about 9 miles. So that's it for this session. Keep training, keep preparing for the trip. Still have a month to go. On another training hike, got about 50 pounds in my backpack again. As you can see today, my wife Kelly's joining me. Finished some more meal prep this morning, made some fruit and nut bars, and headed out into trails through my neighborhood. Not sure how far we'll get going, just trying to continue to evolve the setup in my backpack, figure out where everything should be placed. My bear vault has evolved into a extra duffel bag that I'm hanging from the back. Makes it much more secure, yet it does change the center of gravity. Ideally, I'd like it above the top, right behind my head. I'll continue to think about how to do that. But for now, enjoy the nice view while we walk in the shade. It's still morning, it's about 85 degrees, 75% humidity. Got my leather boots on again, this time not wearing those black tights, seeing if that affects the moisture at all. God, I was soaked last time I did this. Feet were completely drenched in sweat. And I know that when I don't wear those, the moisture evaporates a little bit better. That was also a very long hike, and this is going to be a shorter hike. Continue to train and get ready for the hike in about 21 days. Today's August 2nd, doing some more meal prep for the Maroon Bells hiking trip coming up on August 21st. Today I've put everything out here that I've assembled so far. I've got an assortment of breakfast items and dinner items. I'm still working on lunch and also some more of my snacks. To give you an idea of what I've compiled so far, I've taken some just some quick cooking oats and vacuum sealed each one in a single serving. For example, this is 1 cup of oats, so this will mix with 2 cups of water. And then I'm going to be adding my fruit mix, which is a mixed berry fruit. And here in my fridge, I've got those stored. Right here is a mixed berry assortment and nuts. I have pecans, cherries, strawberries, raspberries, bananas, etc. I've also dehydrated just some plain strawberries, as you can see here. Taking those along with me. I also dehydrated some apples, so these are sliced apples. And then a variety of things here, like I've got powdered whole milk. So 1 serving of this, 1 cup of, this is 1 cup of water to this amount of powder. I've got some just basic electrolytes if I need those to mix with my water supply. I also have a variety of instant coffee, so pour these directly in a cup of coffee. And then for specifically for dinner, I've got some rice noodles that are ready to be boiled. I took some black beans that were in a bag, uncooked beans, soaked them overnight, then cooked them, then dehydrated them in my dehydrator. And I have these split out into 3 servings, about 1 1/3 cup each for these. These are, the noodles are in like nests, so I took 2 nests per bag here. Unfortunately, when I tried to vacuum seal the noodles, this particular vacuum seal held, but this one did not. So it punctured a hole when I was, sealing the bag. So it's not sealed, so that's okay. I'll just put those in another Ziploc bag and they should be kept fresh. Other things for dinner, all of my dinners are going to be basically a Asian noodle soup. So I've got a variety of mixed vegetables that I dehydrated a few days back. I've got here scallions, I've got carrots, I've got jalapenos, garlic, a variety of things there. 3 servings. And then I also did some cilantro, dehydrated cilantro, dehydrated spinach, dehydrated mushrooms, dehydrated broccoli. Took some unsalted peanuts and basically just crushed them in my food chopper and then vacuum sealed those. So I've got 1 serving for each dinner. And then I made a small little bag of mixed spices. And in this spice bag, there's chili powder, garlic powder, salt, coriander, ginger, and crystallized lime. So it looks like a really good dinner breakfast combination. Basically just put this all in a pot with some filtered water, turn on my stove, and get to cooking. The oats will cook in a couple minutes once the water's boiling, and then this dinner food will be probably something similar, long enough to get the noodles and the beans soft and everything back reconstituted. So like I said, lunch is going to be next. I'm going to probably dehydrate some chicken, some cooked chicken, maybe some lunch turkey. I still haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to do there, but I'll be sure to show you another segment on my video once I have that complete. Oh, and snacks. So what I did was I took another mixed berry and nut blend and basically made some knockoff kind bars. Unfortunately, I'm not too experienced on making this, so when I did my syrup recipe, I cooked it on the stove using my candy thermometer, which is right here. So on the recipe it said to get the syrup up to 260 degrees Fahrenheit, which shows on my thermometer to be hard crack. And I could never get this thing to go above 220 degrees before the pot would start bubbling up and overflowing. So I finally gave up on 260 and allowed it to be 220, poured it over my nut and berry blend, hoping that it would, you know, solidify, get back up to, you know, like a solid, like a kind bar. You know what those look like. Unfortunately, when I did all that, it just really never hardened. So I ended up taking the kind of like a goo ball of nuts and berries and syrup and just kind of just smashed them into somewhat of a cookie shape and put those in the freezer. So they're solid right now, but as soon as they start to heat up, they're gonna turn back into kind of just mush. So I'll basically have to eat these, you know, kind of just pull them out of the bag, eat a few morsels, and then go on. I was trying to get them, you know, that really hard, crispy bar texture, but that didn't work. So that's everything so far. I've got a bear vault that I'm going to be putting all this food in. I'll show you that again later. So hopefully I have enough room for everything once it's all combined. Otherwise I have to leave some food behind because everything has to go into the bear vault. Hi, another short segment on my preparation for my Maroon Bells hiking trip coming up in about 3 weeks. I wanted to go over my first aid kit. Planning for an emergency or a situation that you're not quite expecting is something that I'm passionate about. I do a lot of planning in my work and personal life, and I work in an industry where if things are not done correctly the first time, people can get hurt and sometimes can be hurt very seriously. So preparing for emergencies is a big part of my job and my life. And one of the most easy things that you can do as an individual to prepare for an emergency is to have an emergency kit. Okay, so the first aid kit is now opened up. First of all, you're going to see some paracord. That's 18 feet of paracord. I've got a CPR micro shield in this little satchel, and that's just to have some protection between your mouth and the victim's mouth doing CPR, some needle, thread, scissors, some Kleenex tissue, very basic stuff. In here I've got some solution for itchy eyes, I've got little packs of sunblock, I've got some spare contacts in here, and in this back pocket I've got an emergency mirror and paper towels. I've got some scalpels, disposable scalpels, obviously disposing of them in a proper place. A little booklet on how to do first aid CPR. I've got some face mask, face shield, and nitrile gloves. And then in this section, I've got a large variety of bandages, various things for cuts and blisters. I've got some powder to put on a cut to help it stop bleeding. I've got liquid bandage. I've got finger cots. Got just a huge variety of different bandages in this Ziploc bag. Anything that I could get my hands upon in my bathroom upstairs. So in this section, a lot of utility equipment. First of all, I've got some safety glasses. I've got toilet paper and doggy bags. You can guess what that's for. In here, I've got some gauze. And then packed inside here is a few other things. I've got a few needles in here. I've got some earplugs, and I've got a actual razor blade. Here I have a couple different knives. One of these is just your basic serrated knife. Another one is a utility knife, which has another razor blade. And then in this section right here, I have a few other tools. I've got your basic shaving razor. I've got some tweezers right here, and behind here, which I'm not going to take out, but it's a tourniquet, and it's one of those where you can use this bar. Once you get the tourniquet around the appendage, you can twist that bar and then lock it into this section right here, and it will stay exactly where you left it. And there's also a magic marker, so you can write some time and dates on that, because that's very important to medical professionals. And then finally in this section, it's another zippered spot, and have a lot of internal medicine right here. Things like emergency. I've got basically every kind of over-the-counter medicine that I could think of, whether it's antihistamines, aspirin, Tylenol, laxative. I've got the electrolytes, and just a whole assortment of things right here. So that's my first aid kit. This first aid kit, I really couldn't tell you how much it cost for me to furnish it completely with the supplies that I made, but I would say it's probably less than $120, but again, it doesn't have many of the things that the My Medic bag has, but it has things that I think are important. and it currently weighs about 2.75 pounds fully loaded. So weight's always important to me when I'm carrying anything. This particular kit's gonna go with me on my